you're still you the whole time, right? You're going to be you now and you're going to be you then. So anyway, I'm still going to be stuck with myself. So I've got to figure out how I want to be stuck with myself in a happy way or miserable.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Solid. Excited today. You're going to hear from my better half, Lexee Neil. I'm just so grateful to be able to have her on. Jeff was out of town today, so she filled in, and we just talked about our life today, kind of what we've learned over 22 years of marriage, and the lessons we're continuing to learn today of how to do our best to be great parents, great spouse to one another, and just be solid people in the world. So hope you get out a lot out of today. Be sure to like and subscribe, comment, let us know what you'd like to see more of, and we really appreciate you supporting us and listening in. Stay solid. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Solid. Got a exciting, I think it's an exciting episode for you today. Do we call these episodes?
Yeah.
Episode, podcast, whatever you want to call it. I get to have my beautiful wife, Lexee, on with me this time. Jeff and Kelsey are out of town this weekend, so we're going to do one between her and I I guess just kind of talk about life and
wherever we go.
Wherever we go, right? So I'm excited about it because I think behind, I don't want to say I'm a great man.
Yeah, you might need to rethink that.
Behind every great man is a greater woman by his side. That's some people say behind him. Not behind me. You're by my side, I would say.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate, very blessed. Lexee is beautiful inside and out. As beautiful as she is on the outside, she's even more beautiful on the inside. I've had the privilege to be married to her for over 22 years now, and I've known her for even a lot longer than that. Her and I actually grew up in the same neighborhood in northern Utah, a little place called Sandy, Utah, which is in the Salt Lake Valley, and knew her and her family for many years before we got married growing up. And then we can kind of talk about our past here in a little bit, but I think we kind of wanted to start off with life today, how we live, what we're doing, what we're up to, maybe some of our daily schedule, right? Those types of things.
We're both very boring in our schedules, I think. Well, I am. I'm super boring.
We're structured, I think. I really... We just got back from a family vacation last week, right? And as we're on our vacation, I'm like, gosh, I just love my life so much. I don't need a vacation from my life is how I feel. You know, I really feel that way.
It's true.
And of course I do like to hunt. So sometimes I like to go and do that still, but I love our life. I love our life home. I love our life every day, living with you, raising our kids. But maybe
I think we're both pretty content just being home and doing our thing. But I will say you were great on the trip. I know it's not your favorite to, I don't know, fly. We're not good flyers. We don't like people telling us where we have to be and when a little bit, right?
Yeah, we definitely need to figure out how to get to where get our own
where we can
jet.
travel without being told.
Yeah, we need to make some more money, Lex.
I know. So I'd be good with that.
Yeah,
because I do want to see a lot of places. I just don't want to have to get there.
I know. Yeah, I'm not afraid of flying. I just don't like
I am afraid of flying, but
yeah, I feel like I'm like your cattle going through those little line things, and I'm not a cattle, right?
And you don't like to follow the rules, and I do to a point, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I remember the first time we'd fly, and you'd be like, oh, we can go in this way. And I'm like, you can't go in the exit. And you're just like, it's fine. And I'm just, anyway, we've had
sometimes it's a more efficient way to go.
Yeah.
I believe in rules as long as they make sense, right? Following the rules.
And then I'm holding your hand like, I don't know what to do. Do I follow you or do I go the right way?
Yeah. So that's good and bad. We both have I think it's a good thing and a bad thing both.
Yeah.
It's good that you follow rules sometimes. It's good that I maybe don't sometimes.
Yes.
And vice versa a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I was just complimenting you that on the trip you were awesome, which I know just your personality. You want to be working schedule doing that. And it's hard for you to just relax. Like we're not really like beach relaxers at all.
No.
Like we don't even enjoy the beach. We're just like,
Yeah.
I'd rather be like going to like a history site, and you would rather be hunting
in the mountains somewhere. Yeah. Where there's very few people is my, I just like the peaceful. Not that I don't like people. I love people, but just South Florida is not a place, which is where we went. It's not a place where you get away from people. That's for sure. Right. It's just a very busy place. I know the weather's really nice or whatever, but for me, it just doesn't appeal to me at all.
Yeah.
But we all have
But our kids wanted to go to the beach so bad. So it's like, all right, for you guys, we'll go do the beach. We'll do the dolphin thing. We'll do all that for them to have those experiences because that's what they want.
Yeah.
And we'll do the family history stuff and the history stuff other times and fit that in too for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you like to go and, like you say, I mean, if I was going to plan a trip, the best trip I could plan for you would be like a U.S. history tour or church history tour or gospel history tour or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's what you'd like to do.
I want to be learning and like, I just like to be connected to, I don't know, people that came before us.
Yeah. Maybe a baseball game here or there.
Yes.
Catch one of those.
I do love the feeling of a baseball field.
Yeah.
You know that. So
Right.
you put up with baseball games now and then just for me.
Yeah. I don't mind watching baseball if you're there. I just don't like watching on TV.
Oh, okay. But you also don't
Baseball's more of a game than a sport, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I mean, there's less physical. I mean, you run a
okay.
little bit.
Okay.
You're hitting with a bat. It's not a bad thing.
Okay.
Like basketball, football, wrestling, those are sports, right?
Okay. All right. I can see that. But for me, there's nothing better than like the feeling at a ball field.
Yeah. Well,
A baseball field.
yeah. I mean, you grew up playing softball. A lot of people don't know this. I'll brag about you a little bit.
I think everyone, if you've ever listened to you speak, you're
That's
so
true.
sweet and you do brag about that a lot. But
Well, maybe we'll get into that later. But you were a world-class softball player, and we were throwing the ball yesterday actually a little bit, and some of my throws are a little bit wild, but yours are always spot on.
wherever you put your glove,
Yeah.
try to hit it.
Yeah,
Wherever it's
which
at.
is pretty amazing. Close or far too. You can chuck that thing.
It's one of my only skills. Like
Yeah.
if there was like a talent show, I can throw a ball, I can spit really good. That's about it.
You do know how to hock a logie.
I know.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah,
My dad taught me when I was little,
You know
and-
how to burp really loud too.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. My dad taught me how to spit when I was little, and I don't know. I took right to it like a natural, and I was always known for screaming and spitting on the ball field. So.
Yeah, it's good. So life today, what do you think? How does it go? How do we live? Is it good? Is our life better now, or as good now as we ever thought it would be? What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's different than like I have the feeling that I want to have, if that makes sense. I might not be doing like every exact thing that I pictured. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but like the feeling of being content, but still pushing to grow and learn and do all those things. I love my life so much. I mean, of course, there's issues, there's problems, there's things I'm like, I don't know how to handle this. But we both are early risers. That's just, I don't know. That's kind of how we've done it for a long time. Getting up early, hit the gym first. And our new thing is hitting the cold plunge first before the gym, which has been a new added thing. It's actually made me not want to rise quite as early because I'm not wanting to get in that thing. So doing hard things, cold plunge, gym, coming home, getting ready. And then I've been homeschooling the last couple of years, as you know. And so for the morning routines, getting some kids off to school. Jersey gets up and goes to school. Jersey goes to the gym now too. Our oldest, shout out to our number one fan, our oldest daughter, who has listened to every Solid podcast. And it's honestly been an amazing thing to watch her gain a new respect, I think, even for you. I've loved watching that. So she hits at the gym too, and then she takes off. She goes to high school, but our other three are home and teaching them. And some days go really well. Some days are a challenge and don't know why I'm doing it. And then other days it's just like, this is a blessing, such a blessing. Then I do get our boys off to school, and in the afternoon, because they do a half
half
day, which is good and bad. It's good to get them out of the house, get them to be with their friends. And also that means I'm scheduled. So I actually have to get their work done. You know, you can't say, oh, we'll do your math later. We've got to do it now. And then I get 1 hour in the afternoon of no children. So I usually just run errands or whatever, just the daily stuff that's got to get done, do laundry. I try to read and study every single day. So I try to make that happen. Spread out all my books on our bed that I think drives you crazy a little bit.
What books? What do you study?
Right now, deep into the New Testament. And then just whatever other books. I mean, I'm not ever reading for like fun.
Just to educate yourself.
It's only to educate. It's
become more aware of the world around you.
Yeah. Whatever's going on around, whatever's going to help me be a better human being, I guess, too. So,
which is really cool because as our kids are learning in homeschool from us, you know, we're learning those things. You're learning those things, and you're teaching them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to.
I do have a crush on their teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Teacher
or principal? I'm both. No, you think you're the principal.
I'm the principal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but whatever.
Okay. Well, sometimes the principal gets to teach too, because I feel like the boys want to change up and they think it's cool to come out to dad's office and have dad teach them.
Yeah.
So that's cool too.
Yeah.
Maybe the one day they'll understand that it's actually not normal for a dad to be home in and out all day long, huh?
Right.
Pretty cool.
It's cool different. It is pretty cool. Yeah. We kind of designed our house. So I've got my office at our house, but detached from our house too. So I just do a lot of work, which is this, where we record this is the office, right?
Yeah.
And get a lot of work done from here, and it is different. And so, yeah, I would agree. I think life is pretty awesome right now in the sense that we've really been able to plan and design our life the way that it's worked out, you know. And I think, like you said, you got the feeling, that the right feeling of what you would want to have, you know, which I think is overall joy and happiness, you know.
Yes.
Like I said, there's challenges and things you still got to work through. And
I think there was a part of me that imagined, like, when we started building the business, and all I wanted to do was stay home with our kids. Like, every day when I was working in the office and starting our business, I really just imagined being able to just be home with our kids. So that I think I imagined being more like carefree about things, like almost like money would really fix everything, which it does take care of a lot. But I still love that we have the growth factor part of it that you still have to have, that I did not imagine that so much. I thought, oh, we'll be great. Because once you're married a long time, you'll be good. You know, parenting will just kind of come naturally, like all these different things. My kids will be just like me, so they're going to be really easy kids. I mean, those kind of things that you just don't really know until they're happening.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I recently was talking to somebody about two different couples that are in their older years of life, and just talking about how one of the couples made the comment that they're happier than they've ever been, wouldn't change anything about their life. But financially, they're not like super rich or wealthy, right? But they're just happy, fulfilled. And then another couple, same age, very financially successful, but not at peace, not in harmony. And if you had to pick between the two, right? And I don't think you have to pick between, I think you can have both, but but if you had to pick, which one do we really want to have? And that's where, I mean, I wouldn't change a thing. I'm just so happy with where I'm at in life and the direction I'm headed in, whatever that might mean. And I think that's what everybody's really striving to do.
Well, that one couple probably was thinking, I'll have that contentment when I have you know, the riches or whatever. So I 100% agree. You can have both. Like, it doesn't mean that if you have money, you're going to be miserable, but you still have to work on your own happiness, your own self.
Yeah. You got to be happy now, right? Happy before you ever get it, happy along the way, happy with the journey. You got to have that aim. But then you've got to not just have the aim, you've got to enjoy the process along the way. And I think
you're still you the whole time, right? Yeah. You're going to be you now and you're going to be you then. So anyway, I'm still going to be stuck with myself. So I've got to figure out how I want to be stuck with myself in a happy way or miserable, you know?
That's good. That's good. So you've always, as I've watched you through, so we basically started building our relationship actually when I was on a mission through letters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was on my church mission. I wrote a letter home. You saw it on your kitchen table, read it. We started writing back and forth. And one of the things that really made me fall in love with you before I came back from my mission, I knew who you were. I knew, we were around each other a little bit before our mission, but with you being 3.5 years younger than me, we weren't around each other a lot, right? And I didn't really know you. I guess I didn't know your full personality. I just, you were friends with my younger sister and my friend's younger sisters. But one of the things I really could start to see in your letters was just the type of person you were, in the sense of, I guess, the virtues and values that you had then that you obviously learned through your childhood. And so maybe you could talk a little bit about that, because, as you were growing up, you had great parents, great family. And I think that obviously they had good values in the home, but you got into softball at a really young age, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that, of how did you get that sense of direction so early on in life, and then you've maintained that and grown upon, you've built upon that in a big way. You've always had I think a moral compass that is just second to none. It's just always been there. It's always been really true north, no matter what's going on around you. So that's been something that's it's very attractive to me and other people around you. There's people that I know you that feel that, so maybe talk about that a little bit, about what you think built that and instilled that inside of you.
I've thought about that over the years, because I do think that it is a gift from God that I do want to give credit for, because there's a lot of times that I actually kind of felt bad for being that way.
Because did you feel like you were being self-righteous?
Yes.
Kind of?
And making other people feel bad if they had a different, wanted to do things different than me, that I would be like, I'm going to do this because I know it's the right thing, because I actually want to. I don't feel like I'm doing it because I'm worried that someone's going to see me. I know God sees everything that I do, but I think it's just a gift. And instead of feeling bad, I think that the adversary wants us to feel bad for our gifts. And so whatever is the opposite of that, then you can let that get you down. So I think that's been a challenge I've actually tried to overcome, while also trying to acknowledge that it's okay for me to be different than other people, Where do I start?
I know, huh?
You even ask me.
I know.
Let's see. I don't know.
Was it stuff you learned from your coaches in softball? Was it your parents? Was it your spiritual church leaders?
Obviously a combo of all that. Yes, coming from amazing parents who did instill good values. And
were you just born that way?
Maybe. I don't know.
I know you have an aunt that said one time when you were going to go stay at her house, Lexee wouldn't hurt a flea.
Yeah. Well, and then my sisters would always be like, oh, perfect little Lexee, wouldn't hurt a fly. I wouldn't hurt a fly.
Okay.
I don't know. I just always wanted to do good and do the right thing. I don't even know where it came from, but
it's a gift, I think.
I didn't
we'll
like
just say God gave you the gift.
Gave me the gift, but I didn't like getting in trouble. I didn't like the feeling of being in trouble. I don't like it. I still don't like it to this day, which is hard for me to follow you through the exit or the entrance the wrong way, because someone's going to yell at me and I don't like it. But obviously playing sports, it was a huge part of my childhood, and I love watching our children play sports. Like, we got Dodger. I registered our youngest for baseball, and which, you were kind of like, that's, I don't know, maybe not your first choice, but I'm like, we'll just give it a try.
He did not want to go, by the way. That the first practice, he was like not wanting to do.
Right. He actually baseball. Got put on a team. This kind of remind me, he got put on a team with no one that he knew. He doesn't know the coaches, doesn't know anyone on the team, which in our little, neighborhood and stuff, you get signed up, you're going to be with your friends. You just are. And it reminded me of myself, like my first teams, I'm playing with kids from all over the valley. Like, I didn't know one person for my teams. And then I ended up being on a team for 10 years with people that I didn't know at one point, right? Didn't know a soul. And then we became one of the top teams, in the region and in the country even. So I think it was a good thing for Dodge. Like, it's been hard to watch him. He was so scared that first practice, the first game.
Right.
Kept saying, I'll just watch, or don't make me go out there. And he ended up doing it. He's doing great. And I think he's learned some great lessons from being that kid on the team.
He can't wait. He can't wait to get out on the field. When it's time to go, he's getting dressed and he's ready.
Yes.
It's been fun to see.
Yeah.
So you were, how old were you when you were playing competitive softball?
So competitive 8 was the first time that I was in accelerated sports, but I think my mom put me in around 5, 6. I was on rec leagues, and then I went and tried out for an accelerated team.
So you're watching these boys at 7 and 8 right now. What are you thinking? Are you I was so beyond this. I knew the rules. I knew, because we're watching Dodger. He's 7. Mm-hmm. They don't have a clue.
He doesn't know what to do for runners. Do you tag them? Do you touch the base? Are they pushing? They don't know.
If you're playing second base, you're actually supposed to cover second base. If you're playing first base, you're supposed to cover first base. You're right. And they don't even know to cover the base.
He's waving to us.
Yeah.
And he's paying attention, but he doesn't know. Both. I go back and forth between oh my gosh, are our kids behind because they aren't doing what I did, which has been hard for me because none of our kids have been really involved in something. And for a long time, I thought something was wrong with that. Jersey would change sports and she would try this for a season or 2 and then move on. So part of me felt oh my gosh, you get into a sport and you do it and that's what you do. And I've had to kind of back off that and say, that's not the only way to do it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these little kids are so cute. But if I think about Bridger, he's 10. At 10, I was in a van traveling to Kansas playing
with your team,
with my team. Yes.
So that amazing.
Very weird to watch. At 12, 12, 13, Sailors 13. At 12, we took 5th in the nation in Indiana. So it is kind of crazy to think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it really is.
Have we sheltered our children or, I guess there's no right or wrong. They're learning their lessons in different ways. But
I don't know. Have we sheltered them? It's a different world today than it was back then. Definitely. Right. I think there's a lot more dangers in a lot of ways. And I wonder sometimes, you hear this a lot, man, kids are growing up to be weak and maybe some are, but I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. You got to watch over them, but you also have to allow them to go get these experiences. But in today's world, there's a lot out there.
Well, and that being said, they're learning their own lessons in that, right? They have a harder time maybe in, school or different things that they're still getting great lessons. It's tough to compare.
It's just different.
It is different.
Yeah.
They're still getting what they need. You always remind me, they're in our home. They're getting what they need,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I hope so. I think so. I think that's, we always look at it. You and I look at it this way. They're not our children. They're the Lord's children. We just have our stewardship, to teach them the best that we can and know how.
Right.
So, got to trust in that, I think. But maybe we should talk a little bit too about, just kind of our last 22 years, what we've learned as we've gone through the last 22 years, how, we got married young. Mm-hmm. In fact, you were still in high school when I got back from my mission. Mm-hmm. And again, playing softball, doing really well, 3-time state champion, all-state second baseman, MVP too, right?
Yeah.
As a second baseman, which is crazy because usually it's the pitcher or maybe the catcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I had my summer league, summer league, and then going into high school, playing 9th through 12th.
Yeah. So your parents dumped all this sacrifice, energy into putting you through all of this, incredible training to become this great softball player. So one of the reasons was so you could, I don't know if this was one of the reasons or not. I'm sure it was to get a scholarship, right? Obviously you learned, I think, exactly what you needed to learn from all of that.
I agree. And I've thanked them multiple times of just willing to do that. And I see what things cost now, and we don't even spend that much money on our kids' extracurricular stuff. And my parents didn't have a lot. Yeah. And they made sure all of us were involved in.
And the travel and the time and all that. And you ended up having a scholarship. You earned that scholarship. And then I get back from my mission and you went up to, at the time it was Rick's College, Bellevue, Idaho. And you went up there. I'm like, man, if she goes to college there.
I went up there just to check it out. Right.
Yeah. And you're gone. And I'm like, if she goes to college up there, she's going to get married to somebody else. So you got back from there. We had our
You didn't
talk.
want to follow me up there. Because that just felt wrong too.
I hated school. I hated college. I did not want to go to college. And so, you were going up there. I'm like, man, anyway, so.
A little bit of a crossroads, huh? Had to figure out what to do. And I just prayed about it. Felt right to call the coach and tell him that I was no longer going to come and play up there. So.
Yeah, and your parents were great. They didn't, I don't think they hated me too bad for that.
They were
and
great.
They were awesome. And I tried to be respectful but anyway, I think it ended up working out okay. And I'm grateful that you didn't go.
Thank you. Me too.
So we got married really young. So I was 22 and you were 18. Obviously, when you're that young, I think there's just a lot of things that you just don't know yet, right? I'm 44 now, and I feel like now there's even more things I don't know. But getting married young, you were just getting out of high school, and we got married.
I'd never worked. I'd never had a job.
Never had a job because you always were playing softball,
right?
And we got married September of 2000, and started. Just going through life, trying to find jobs and all that kind of stuff. And I think earlier in our marriage, we thought we were, I'm sure this happens a lot, right? Where we thought you were a supportive wife, and fortunately we found our financial business early on in life, and we both took a look at it together and said, hey, this is what we're going to do for a career. And long story short, you said, hey, let's do this. And I said, okay, let's go. So we just got all in. We went all in, right?
Yeah.
We started part-time, but...
part-time, we were both working at Discover Card. You had to help me get a job at Discover because I, for some reason, don't know how to interview and get a job. But,
but you got it.
Yeah, you had a call, I think, didn't you? And because I went and interviewed and, for some reason.
Yeah,
I think I'm too honest or something in my interviews and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, so you made a call or something. I can't remember. But anyway, I got hired on, and then I was horrible at collections because you rocked it. You, was it called? Not bonusing. It was a bonus, but
there's bonuses. Yeah.
But every month, what was it called?
I can't remember.
Were you bonused? But every month you pretty much bonused, and I don't think I ever did.
Yeah, if you
collected so much.
Because if somebody told you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip, you would feel really bad for them and say, okay, I will call you next month, right?
Probably.
And I'd be like, hey, you're late on your bill, and we need to figure out how to get this paid for so we don't come after your house, right?
Yeah. Collections is not the place for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, but
I stayed on there.
You stayed on there.
A long time,
you allowed me to quit so we could go full time in the financial business, right? And we did that, and you were so supportive there.
I
and then
that job so bad.
Oh,
I was
man,
so sick. At night,
every
knowing
morning
I'd have to get up. Remember that time I had to work the day after Christmas, and I was like,
I remember
I couldn't
that
even
very
enjoy
well.
Christmas.
Yep.
I was like, I have to work tomorrow. Discover Card.
That sick feeling.
At 6 a.m. It was horrible.
Yeah. But what a motivation that was for me to feel that, because I felt it with you. At that time, I was now full-time in the financial business, but I still had to go build that business.
Right.
But I really felt bad for you because you had to go to the job the next day. And I was like, well, I've got my own business, so I get to do it.
You can't sit around and not do anything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got after it. You did awesome. And I remember encouraging you to go full-time though, because you did so well part-time. I just knew that it would, I didn't know how fast, but I knew it would be great if you went full-time. So I stayed on there for another year. And then I started training to be the office manager with our
financial
office manager.
team.
Yeah.
Yep.
So started training that. And then we decided to move to St. George.
Yep. And you were going to get another job here, but just didn't work out. There's nowhere that hired you, right?
Yeah.
So we just
went to the office and started working full-time there, huh?
Yep. We did. We did. So I think what was really good, a lot of people say, so how was your wife, with your focus and building your business, and you were always just, you go get it done, not just supportive, you were involved. You ran the office, and then I would run the recruiting and training and teaching people. And you were also really good at building relationships with the agents as they would come and drop off their apps or whatever, help with their thinking, right? Because we were both growing together. We were both doing all of the self-improvement together, listening to the same audios,
yes.
reading the same books.
Yes.
So I think early in our marriage, that probably really helped strengthen our marriage because we were on the same page with all of that, right? And I would say those first 3 or 4 years, we were very focused together, growing together, right? And then maybe you can comment on this a little bit. I feel like then it was time. We're like, okay, we want to start having kids. You want to start having kids. I wasn't there yet, even though I knew it was the next step. I was resistant to it.
You were just like in your groove. I think you just didn't want anything to stop that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe some of that, immaturity, I think selfishness. I can admit that. I don't feel good about it now. I look back and I go, gosh, but yeah, I was focused.
Well, where I have that innate female feminine drive that's like children, right? So I wasn't really thinking way far into the future, which is probably what you're doing. Like, I've got to make sure that I provided enough for this family that I'm in. And I'm just like,
yeah,
children, like, I know it's ready. I'm feeling that feeling. And so, yeah, probably didn't do, like, maybe looking back, like I definitely could have handled that better,
Yeah.
like being more open and honest with you and be like, listen, I get that you're worried about this or that, or what are you worried about? Let's talk about it. I'm feeling very strongly it's time. And that's what 20 years of marriage gives you, right? Where the first 4, 5, 6, it's just kind of like, I was unsure of myself too.
Sure.
I was never very sure. Like, no, this is right. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm just not that kind of personality.
I wasn't receptive to it because I wasn't sensitive to it because I was so focused on, I got to provide. We have to hit this point before we have kids, right? Which is kind of interesting because the same way, I'll be happy when I get here. It's the same type of mindset, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, it's more of when it's right, it's right. And so, I was 24, 25, 26, and you're like, we need to start having kids. And so
by this point, we've been married for a long,
4 or 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we started to try to have kids and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Right. And it came to a point where we started to do the in vitro process. And we live in St. George, Utah. We had to go to Las Vegas to do that because that was where the best doctor we kind of figured we felt we could find was doing that. And again, you just were all in on that, making that happen. And I was like resistant. So I did not have the best attitude during that time. And this, I want people to kind of hear this because our marriage has been phenomenal. I love that I'm married to you. Love you more now than I ever have before. And it's just been an awesome journey, but that doesn't mean we didn't go through all of our crap and continue to go through crap today and learn how to do that. But that's what makes us a more powerful couple and a stronger relationship. But I just wasn't supportive, and because again, I thought I needed to be I had the mindset, like I think it happens a lot. If I provide for my family financially,
that's enough for something.
That's my role.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So not true. That's a piece of it. That's definitely a piece of it. And it's an important piece of it. But the most important side of it, I was missing, and I wasn't even aware of it for whatever reason. I was just off base. I was just off base. I think I go back to look at that and I go, you know what? Spiritually, I wasn't doing the things I needed to be doing spiritually. Otherwise, I would have been more in tune with that. Because I feel like that's one thing that and again, this might be part of the divine femininity you're kind of talking about. That's kind of more of a natural thing maybe for a lot of women where you always had that. You had that feeling inside, but you also probably didn't feel like you could express that to me in a way that I would accept it.
Yeah, feel like kind of safe in that way or comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
And I'm naturally a little bit more like, I'm not going to push it. And then I build resentment. Like, that's just my personality, right? Where I'm like, fine, then I'll just do this by myself. Like, I'll just
Which is what you did a lot of. You drove back and forth because you had to drive down once a week, twice a week sometimes.
It depended on the week, but yeah, twice a week for a while.
And get to have your checkups. And then we had to do shots and,
the shots and then the ultrasounds, making sure everything.
And you still have like a lump where we gave you shots.
I do.
Yeah. Crazy.
Like, I guess that's what it is. It just feels like a, oh my gosh.
Tumor.
No. I don't have a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
What's it called?
But, I don't know. A little scar tissue.
Scar tissue. Thank you. Like a big chunk of scar tissue.
But we went through that process and then you got pregnant.
Oh, you also hit my sciatic.
Oh, that's right. With a needle.
With a needle.
I mean, it didn't.
That hurt for like a year.
To, but
no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But it hurt for like a year. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No fun, right?
No.
And again, I wasn't as sensitive as I should have been to all that. I just was off, Yeah. So I'm grateful I can look back on that and recognize that now. But at the time, I just didn't see it. Thank goodness you stuck by my side. You continued to support me. You looked past it. And we ended up dealing with it later. We definitely did.
That came out like 10 years later.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, this is where that stemmed from.
It will come out eventually,
Right.
and it needs to be dealt with.
I mean, of course, if I could have been more open and, feeling either, I don't know who starts it, right?
Yeah, I think it's a combination because I think you could have been more open, but I don't think I would have been very receptive to it. So I think there's a reason it happened the way it happened. I wasn't ready, and whatever reason, your spirit or whatever, just said, okay, I'll just bury it right now, and when it comes out later, we'll have to deal with it then, right?
Luckily, we passed that test a little bit. So
we did.
But yeah,
we'll talk about it more in a second.
Then IVF didn't even actually work. So
didn't work. It was so you got pregnant, and then it ended up planting in your the
he said
the
that
embryo.
He's never seen this happen ever. Maybe 1% of the time something like this would happen.
Because you were pregnant, but they couldn't see it.
Right.
When they did the ultrasound, which means it probably got stuck in the fallopian tube.
Yeah.
And
which
then,
is not even where they implant it. So it doesn't really make any sense.
Yep.
I don't know.
But they had to terminate it.
They had to give me a shot because it was in my tube. And so, that was rough.
Yeah.
That was rough. But I think you didn't know how to comfort me, probably.
I didn't know,
because you were like probably a little bit, I don't know if you were relieved, but also heartbroken, but relieved. And then, probably didn't know, how do I support, I didn't fully support her in it, and then now I got to support her in this loss. It's just
and just looking at it from I guess a worldly point of view too. It's expensive. We spent all this time, didn't even work. What are we doing? And then a few months go by, and you're like, "Hey, we got to try this again."
We're doing it again right now, and you're like, "We're never doing this again."
Yeah, I'm like,
ever.
"No way,"
Yeah. So I said I'd give you like 4 months. I think I lost. August is when they gave me the shots. We're on a Primerica trip, actually, in Las Vegas. And I left part of the trip to go to the doctor to get the shot. And then you were with me, but, and then went back to the meetings. But I said, I'll give you till the end of the year. I mean, this is not the best way to handle marriage, right? But that's what I did. I said, okay, I'll give you till the end of December after the new year. And I'm doing this again with or without you.
Yeah.
Basically, I want a baby. Like, I don't know. It's funny to look back and see the immaturity, but also doing what I knew it was right to.
It was the most important thing to do at the time.
It was.
It just was.
And I knew that. I knew that this was the next step, and you just weren't quite there. But anyway, I found out December 29th that I was pregnant with Jersey.
And it wasn't through in vitro.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
So it may have been some of the hormone treatments that maybe made it happen. We don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't think anyone really understands how the female body works.
Yeah.
Honestly,
No kidding.
Men.
Yeah.
Even women, we're like, I don't know how that happened, but
I know.
So
Yep.
So we got little Jers, and
Yep.
we talked about this a little bit on the last time I was on with you guys, but where do you want to go from there? Sorry, I kind of cut you off.
No, that's good. No, so we had Jersey, and then you at that point were able to be mom at home. You were still involved with business stuff too. You still came to meetings, and were still involved with the spouses, and making sure that again the relationships were there. That was always you were kind of the glue, I think, in a lot of ways.
Be close with the wives of the agents, or if the agent was the woman, try to be close with them and be in the office. I mean, I'd be in there all the time with Jersey as a baby. And this is when Jeff started taking over the office. And so try to train him and all that. So very much involved, all the trips still. And
and it was fun having Jersey come around and be at the meetings. She was always good to have around there. And then a couple years later, we decided to have another one, right? And same thing, we were going to start the in vitro process again.
Right.
And we ended up...
It'd been like a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
We were trying,
trying.
Yep.
So I went down to the same doctor and took, they take your blood before you get started. And they said, you're actually pregnant right now, but it looks like you're going to miscarry. So I think I've had multiple miscarriages I never knew about, because I wouldn't have known that. So I miscarried, and then got pregnant with Sailor the next month without after we bought all the medication. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I was like, okay, well, we're getting started right after. I bought all the medication, and then they're like, oh, you're pregnant. Lose that pregnancy, and then found out I was pregnant with Sailor like the next month. So pretty cool stories. Yeah. Really.
It is. No, absolutely. Really is.
We got our 2 girls that you thought both were boys for sure. Like you were for sure set that they were both boys, but we got our beautiful daughters.
We did. Yep. Yeah. And then I think, just a few years after that, our business got to a place where we had a tremendous amount of success. We set records in the company. We were doing well financially. I thought, okay, I'm providing this great life for our family, and you were grateful for that, but there was a lot of void there that wasn't being met, which really, looking back on it, I can recognize I wasn't being present as a father in our home like I was as a business leader in business, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's a really good way to put that.
Yeah. So because of that void, it caused some separation with us. I didn't realize it. The rug got pulled out from under me at one point where you're like, okay, I think I might be done here, right? And there was a minute where that happened.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're gonna make me cry.
And I was like, what? Like I really sincerely was not paying attention, had no idea what was happening.
Floored you. Like, there's no way this is real.
Yep. And you're like, look, you were at a place where you're like, man, I've been putting up with this. And again, this stems back to the in vitro process. I think you can maybe correct me. I think during those first few years in our business, we were really on the same page more because we were so focused and busy on our business. But when we started having kids and things like that, I still
wasn't enough anymore to just like, that's the only part of our relationship is us building a business.
Yeah.
Right?
I was being more of a shallow guy. That's all I need. I'm good. I'm happy with all that. Not realizing that there's so much more to life when you start having kids and start having a family, and there's so much more fulfilling things that just, you don't get experience without that. And so
and we had all that freedom, right? I'm watching this all of a sudden we've got this freedom, and maybe with your free time, you were choosing to not be home.
Yeah.
Right. So even though you were still like, I'm still building the business, I'm still, you were doing all the trainings and stuff, but you had more freedom, a lot more money saved. But then that free time, it was like, well, then I'm going to
go do the Ironman. I'm going to go do triathlon
do
stuff. Yes. And I got so caught up in that, and I just wasn't paying attention to the most important things. And so then that all happened. The rug was pulled out from me. I'm going, okay, crap. And it just really it changed me, it was a hard lesson.
Well, it's because I know you're a good man.
And by the way, sorry, keep that thought.
Yeah.
But nobody knew this in our business, I don't think, for the most part, or outside of us, right? They didn't even know. So a lot of you are listening
to
this
going, calling and complaining, or
you guys are probably going, what? Yeah, guys, this is like, things happen sometimes, right? And those of you that haven't had these things happen, awesome. Learn from this so it doesn't happen, right? So anyway, but keep going.
I'll go back to telling you you're a really good man.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I was. It's true though. Like, I knew the man that I married. I knew the boy that I knew growing up, and this missionary that was like on fire with the gospel and like knows why we're really here. Like, I knew that you knew that. It just was blinded there for a bit. And so I think that's why I just stuck with you. And I mean, you for me, obviously, it's not just that you were the only one doing things. I absolutely made my own choices and mistakes too. But ultimately, that's what kept us together, is us knowing who each other really, really are.
Right.
And both of us being willing to go, okay, what can I fix in me to help this? I don't need you to change. What can I do better for me? And I think that's what the last 10 years has been, is I think we've had an amazing 10 years, even though, again, we've had so many different things happen.
It's been much more fulfilling. The last 10 years have been much more fulfilling than the first 10 years.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Because we've had to go through these challenges and really do the hard work. Like you said, so often you see in relationships where they expect everyone around them to change, and good luck with that.
Yeah.
What you're doing when that's happening is you're playing the victim.
Yep.
Right.
I need you to do something to make me feel better.
Yeah.
And it won't work.
And the question is, how much longer do you want to keep being the victim? Or would you like to start saying, okay, well, what is it about me that I need to change and fix so that I can love these people around me how they are and for what they can become? It's totally different, right?
Yeah.
And I would ask you, what did you say? 'Cause I'm curious. I mean, I think I know, but it'd be good for people to hear.
Then you answer it first, and then I just, I don't like direct questions.
What did you see when that kind of that event kind of took place where you're like, okay, I'm done. What did you see, or what helped you go, okay, I'm still here? What made you not say, okay, I'm done for good? And what did you see? What events did you personally experience to go, okay, this is, I know you just said, I know who I married. I know that's part of it, but is there anything else that?
I would say a very, very clear view of an eternal perspective. That as you're, in these rough times and you're praying and asking for help, and sometimes you want a lightning bolt to hit you, and that's not always going to happen. But just those little glimpses, of little blessings of eternal, perspective, why we're here, what we're even trying to do here. Let's keep our family together and let's be willing to work this out. I don't know. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think for me, I recognized right away what I needed. I had some serious work and change that I needed to make, changes I needed to make. And as I started to make those changes, I think my eyes were just opened up a lot more, right? I had a lot more clarity. But I also think that led to us kind of having a little bit of a trauma bond a little bit for the next few years, right? Because we had this traumatic situation. And then we had a healthier relationship in a lot of ways, but there are also some pieces of it that were not so healthy, right?
Right.
Like I was very, I guess, I felt like I needed you to make me feel better. And so I relied on, and then you took on the weight of, I've got to make sure you're okay. And we lived that way for the next 5 or 6 years after that, right? And so we were better in a lot of ways, but now we got this other piece, right? This other element, right? And this is so interesting how we evolve in our relationships. And then you went to a coaching event that kind of helped you go, wait a second, I've got to, I can't keep doing this or I'm not going to make it, right? I always feel like I'm the cause of all this, by the way. Like I'm always the problem here. But
well, I originally started going to coaching to help me be a better mother because I was really struggling with some children more than others. But and I kept thinking, my children need a coach. My kids need a coach. They're just don't know how to do life. They need a life coach. And life coaching kind of wasn't. I feel like that's a term now we know, but a few years ago it wasn't quite as popular. And then as I started listening, and then I was like, actually, I'm the one that needs the life coach. So I really started going to help me be a better mother and wife. But for some reason, I wasn't realizing, well, it came together that me being better was actually me speaking up and not being that for you, because that wasn't helping you or me. Right. So that was a tough thing for me because I don't want to ever hinder anyone. Like, I don't know. Be a bother to anyone else or, cause you pain. And so anyway, this
is so big, I think, because you decided that you were going to work on that, having a voice, making sure that you, instead of, because, we would have maybe an argument and you do just like, okay, whatever. Right. Instead of, okay, listening to me and I don't want to say fight back, but okay, sorry, finish.
I was going to say not taking it personally and shutting down. Right?
Yes.
And just going, okay, that's fine.
And then you're building up all this resentment that I don't realize.
Right. To actually have that little moment of like, I actually hate this part where we don't agree, but we'll get to a solution eventually. I don't like that part.
Yeah.
I don't like that argument at all. And I've had to learn to be okay with having, when you had Chris Toko on.
Yeah.
Is that how he says his last name?
I think so,
say it wrong. Chris and Kayla, right?
Yep.
And he was like, what did he say? You've got to be willing to take me off. And I'm like,
you got to be willing to
challenge me.
It's very good advice, It'll never work.
That's not what I did,
Yeah, you didn't do that for the first 15, 16 years of our marriage for the most part. You would just say, okay, whatever, you do what you want to do.
I'll just,
Yes, and you're right. That was hindering your growth. That was hindering my growth. It wasn't a good thing. And so when you decided you were going to start working on that, you changed like pretty quickly, and I didn't like it because I'm like, who are you? What's going on here? And after a few months, I realized, I go, man, I'm married to this incredible woman. I know that, but she's even way better than I thought she was. But she hasn't been able to become that woman because of this, I don't know if weakness is the right word, or shortcoming or whatever, limitation. Yeah. And so thank goodness you are willing to go and put yourself, like I'm always resisting it. We've gone to therapy, or we've gone to coaches or whatever. And I'm always the one that's resisting, right? But every time I go do it, for the most part, I'm like, okay, thank you for making that happen. Because if we didn't, so anybody who's out there, maybe your spouse saying, maybe we should go to therapy, and our ego sometimes go, there's nothing wrong with me. It's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's just sometimes we need that other perspective from a third party who doesn't know us to shine a different point of view on it, so we can go, we got to be able to look at ourselves. And when you're in the picture and you're in the frame, you can't see the picture.
Yeah.
So you got to have someone who's outside the picture sometimes to see inside that frame. So,
well, and like you say, sometimes the closest people to you don't give you the best advice.
And that's a big mistake too. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm going to go talk to my buddies, or I'm going to go talk to, and right. A lot of times our best friends are the worst therapists, right? Because they don't want to ruffle our feathers or whatever. And that's not always the case. I think sometimes you do have good friends that really will tell you the truth, but I think a lot of times they just don't, right? And so anyway, I think we've learned so much through this process, and then again, I think we went to another level over the last few years of going through. I would say in my life has been the toughest transition, but the most fulfilling at the same time. And as I'm, like today, I'm looking at it going, man, I feel so much stronger than I've ever felt today. At the same time going, I have so much work I've got to continue to do.
It's the cold plunges.
Is that what it is? Maybe it is. I don't know.
No, the last few years transition has been rough to watch you. And also let you go through it, Yeah. Just be like, I'm here.
Instead of rescuing me, you're like, okay, I'm here to support you.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to rescue you.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah. Because in those depths is that's where we truly learn who we are, and where we actually have to reach out towards our Savior and I don't want to take that from you, even though.
Well, it's not your job.
Yeah.
It's not your job. It's not your place to do that. And that's what you were trying to do for so many years. And, it was acceptable to me at the time. And
realizing that I'm trying to take place for your Savior, and that just does not work.
Right.
But yeah, watching you go through that's been a little bit rough, but it's been really good too. And the Lord has always provided for us, always. And that doesn't mean that means we're not doing anything, right? We're still working and doing that and growing. But
well, maybe that's a good way to kind of end this today. Is just I see your unwavering faith so often. I mean, we were just talking before we started this podcast, you and I, just about again a transition where I sold my financial business 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago now. And now I'm working on other businesses. Our Rolling Bones company is growing and it's exciting. And we've got an energy efficiency company we're working on. We've got this podcast that we want to do a lot more with. And just going, I'm not sure exactly how everything's going to work. And I have my days and my moments where I get fearful, like, oh man, what if this doesn't go right or whatever, right? And it always seems that you're going, what you worried about? God's in control. Right? And He is. And having that faith, so you do inspire me to have that faith and that strength to, trust everything's okay. Yeah. I don't need to be afraid. I don't need to be anxious about it.
Well, we prayed about the business sale. It sold in the most seamless, beautiful fashion.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, what do we do next? And then you've got all these different things coming our way. And so, you just see those as blessings. And even though you can't see the full picture now and how it's all going to come together, I just know it will. But you do the same for me. I have more of that anxiety sometimes with our children, and you're always calming those fears for me, because I'll be like, I kind of go into that worry that I'm not, training them right or teaching them right or not doing enough, or, and you're always reminding me that they'll be provided for as well. So, the Lord will provide. So I guess that's where we're a good team, even though we've been through a lot in almost 23 years. But I think we're a good team.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And we're so blessed. Health, got 4 great kids, and they're all very healthy. We come from great families, both of us do. We are very blessed that way. And I my heart goes out to those out there who maybe didn't have all that, but obviously there's the exciting thing, and the good thing is you can be that and change that for you and your family if that hasn't been the case in the past. And
I was just going to say, I know this podcast is helping people. I've had so many people reach out and tell me that. And one in particular, a neighbor of ours said that her son's been searching for something. He grew up without a father figure and said he's been searching for a podcast that helps him be a better man. And so she shared that with him and has just said, thank you so much. That's helped him. So this has been a great thing for you and Jeff and all the people that have been involved. And
yeah. Well, I think a lot of those that are listening too, if you're not married yet, right? When you're looking to get married, the qualities you should be looking for, make sure you're looking for a spouse that has the right virtues and standards and morals and hopefully has a lot of the same interests you do. They don't have to have all the same interests, but I think those things are important. Maybe political views are similar, religious views are similar. You and I know that when we do a better job of keeping God at the forefront of our days, our lives and our home life goes better, right?
Yes.
Kids are still crazy. We try to do, church lessons every day. Kids are crazy.
Evening, and our kids are, this is where I go into my, oh my gosh, our kids are horrible.
They're not always listening. It's but we try to do it anyway. And we do most days. And I see so many around us that are struggling in marriages or family relationships, and they're not doing those things. And I just have a testimony that a reason that we're able to keep things together
Intact.
Is because of that, right? I mean, you do a really good job. When we're going to bed. I get tired at night. I'm like, I'm going to bed. Like, well, let's read our scriptures. Let's pray. Let's make sure we do that. And you're very diligent about that. So we pretty much do that every night too, you and I. And when we're doing that, things work out pretty well. And when we're not, if we fall off the bandwagon for a few days, there's a difference. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just have a testimony that I don't know why. Mm-hmm. I don't really understand. I mean, I do know why somewhat logically, but it's much deeper than that. So anyone who's struggling, get those, just start doing those things. In fact, we're coming up with a probably going to call it a solid 30 challenge. Anybody who completes it's going to be recognized, and we're going to maybe send you a hat and a t-shirt, and there's going to be certain things you got to do every day for 30 days. Kind of like 75 hard, but way better.
Way better.
Way
solid.
better.
Those solid hats are pretty dang cool. I need one.
All right. I might be able to hook you up with one.
Okay.
So, okay. Well, thanks, babe. This has been great.
Making me come on today.
Yeah. Thanks for being on today. It went good.
Welcome. Yeah.
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 You're all worried. You need to be prepared. I
didn't talk about one thing on my list.
Wait, okay, good. See, when you're prepared, you don't have to come prepared. What do you have on
Nothing.
here? What is this? Okay, love you, babe.
Okay, love you too.
All right.
Okay.